we came out of a big working room to have like a chilled out moment after lunch with Jonathan and David. So let's have as we did yesterday with Jim. Let's try to get like closer to the people in there. And I noted down the definition of nerds on my Mac dictionary, who says a foolish or contemptible person who lacks social skills or is boringly studious. Does it correspond to the way you are in any way or not?
That's why I like to think of myself as a geek.
Okay.
Rather than a nerd.
Okay.
I think there's, it's all semantics, but I believe that geek is a better word for a lot of us because they don't usually have the lack of social skills, at least by the definition. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I would say I would not call myself boringly studious. I don't really study as much as I should. I'm still in school, and I'm not boringly studious, so I think that part doesn't apply. I'd also think I have some social skills in general, which don't really match up with that definition. But maybe geek would be a better word. But
so you guys
I'm not offended when people call me a nerd, though.
So geek is a nerd with social skills. That's basically what you're saying.
More or less. Some of the things I've read too are nerds. Their interests are oftentimes in things that nobody else has interest in, and I guess you could say that about programming. But a lot of the times, tech is, it's a big deal right now. Everybody's got the iPhone. Everybody's got, surfing the web and all. So, so at the same time, since we're involved with tech and technology, it's which are the same thing. It's sort of a popular subject.
Okay. So if someone calls you guys a geek, you don't get offended?
By no means.
Definitely not.
No?
It's almost a compliment.
Really?
Maybe 10 years ago it wasn't, though.
Okay.
10 years ago it would not have been.
How many hours do you usually spend in front of your computer every day?
It might be easier to count how many hours I don't spend in front of my computer.
How many hours you don't spend in front of the computer?
How many hours do you sleep?
Yeah, how many hours do I sleep? Yeah, that's about it. So,
subtract that from 24 and there you have it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe at least 12 probably
12
per day, at least.
Like 50% of your time.
Yeah.
Is in front of a computer.
And more than that of my time awake. So, more of like, I don't know, maybe 75% of my time awake I'm in front of the computer.
Yeah. And what
I don't know, that's a lot.
What about you, David, then?
I guess I'm probably pretty high up there too, but 12 hours a day sounds like a lot. I think that definitely happens. When I'm in a project and I'm coding, like today, we could easily each spend like 13, 14 hours on the computer today. I think normally, if it's, let's say, a work day, I try to not stare at the computer screen for more than 8 hours because I just can't concentrate on it for that long. But maybe on average 8, but probably not much higher than that.
What do you guys do usually in the rest of your time, which is not sleeping?
I'm a student, so I'm a full-time student at the University of Southern California. So I'm majoring in computer science and business. So theoretically, I should either be in classes or doing some sort of schoolwork. I'm also on the triathlon team, and so I just joined, and so that's it's kind of like a relay. So or most recently, I did a relay. So you first run a bunch. Or it's a different order. So sometimes you swim, then you bike, then you run, and so that there's a lot of training there, and so there are workouts every day and whatnot, and you've got to be a pretty good swimmer to do that. And I've never really done much swimming before, so I try to go to the swim practice a lot. I don't know other things that college students do.
What about you, Jonathan?
When I'm not, I catch up on some of the TV shows and movies that I want to see, or the TV shows that I watch. Besides that, I'm a big Disney fan, so I end up making multiple trips to either Disneyland or Disney World every year. And then
what's your favorite one?
Disney World. Although there's something to be said about Disneyland, but I love Disney World. And then besides that, I used to do some acting, not so much anymore, but that used to take up some of my time. Besides that, just relaxing with my girlfriend, and that's about it.
And then, like, going back to the geek, like, category, how do you recognize a geek? Like, hobbies, clothes, I mean, tell me something that, like, tells you straight away when you're in a bar, he's a geek like me.
Some can be pretty discreet, but I don't know. What would be the best way?
I think
some people hide
it
it
is
pretty
a
well.
tribe. It is a tribe, so it definitely has some rituals or, like, I mean, I think you can recognize.
It's a lot of the times to me, it involves actually having to talk to them.
Okay.
Or a lot of the times, a lot of, say, like the shirts I wear and all will be sort of geeky ones. And it's, you always know you're dealing with a geek when they know what your shirt means.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are also different kinds of geeks. So being a geek is kind of some form of an obsession. So there could be like a comic book geek. It's like, if you meet someone who's just really into something and, it's all they talk about, then they're definitely a geek. But then
and what about computer geeks? I mean, that's what we were talking about, right?
They're usually going to have their iPhone on them, that's for sure.
Yeah. Wearing multiple forms of technology at any given time, probably.
Like weird form of technology that you bumped into?
Let's
like
see.
someone over tech.
I've seen people with multiple phones and laptops and headsets and all, but it's almost getting pretty normal these days. Besides that...
What about t-shirts or like particular brands or like language? I guess there is a lot about language, right? I mean, words that I wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
And then that maybe for you guys are like common.
There's certainly a lexicon that goes along with being a tech geek.
I find myself throwing in programming related words in normal conversation.
Like,
you say,
tell me one.
Well, okay, so like some of them they have like multiple meanings, but in programming you say like explicit or implicit or things like that a lot, and it's kind of like a way of thinking, and then you use that in normal conversation, and I don't know, a lot of people are turn their heads a little bit, and I don't know.
There's a lot of XKCD references, I think, too.
Yeah.
Those are always fun, which is kind of a geeky blog, math-related and computer-related, that you hear a lot of references to. But,
and there's, for movies or like books, like cultural references that computer geeks usually have.
You're usually going to hear stuff from, The Matrix, Star Wars, Star Trek, although now Star Trek is so popular these days, who knows if it still will be considered that. Maybe Lord of the Rings, I guess, too.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But there's some other TV shows out there, like the IT Crowd is a British show that I think a lot of geeks like. Yeah. And there's that, what's that one in the U.S.? The nerd, it's like the two geeks or nerds or whatever.
I don't know, I just thought about Office Space.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But I don't know what show.
Yeah.
So not many into Disney.
Probably not.
No.
You're pretty original in that.
Yeah.
Pixar. Geeks like Pixar.
That is true, especially Mac programming geeks and all, iPhone and Mac programming geeks. You see a lot of them are really somewhat obsessed with Pixar.
Yeah.
And unhealthy obsessions with Apple also. But it's fun.